Today was a pretty rad day. It's not over yet. Still some more radness to come. Cooking some dinner tonight. Gonna make a little pan-seared scallops, a little risotto, some asparagus. Vegetables are gross, but gotta have some green to go with all that. So the day's rolling. Started off, coached the rowing class. We've been doing like a 6-week rowing focused class at CrossFit Mafia. I'm coaching that in conjunction with the owner, Brentney. And it's based around like improving your 2K. And today was a really fun day. It kind of gave me a moment of reflection. It was a cool effort. It was like a bunch of rounds, 30 seconds of work, and then a 2:30 slow active recovery rest. Everyone nailed it, which was really fun to see. I'm always so amazed at how, I don't know, there's a lot of things to be said about the fitness coaching profession and teaching professions maybe in general, but I'm always really amazed at how willingly people listen to you, and large groups of them too. There's something there. That's probably a bigger podcast. We'll stick a pin in that. I'm not going to make a note on it, because I think it'll come back around. But, what is the weight and responsibility of all that? Because I just, you see adults just like almost do anything you say in a class. Sometimes they don't. But most of the times they do, which is pretty powerful, pretty cool. I wonder how often coaches let that register with them and they think about that and what their impact is on an individual's day, right? Like if you're coaching the 5:30 a.m. class, you're setting the tone, or at least a big part of setting the tone for somebody's day. If you're coaching the last class of the day, you're ending it. But there's something else I want to talk about. We'll come back around to that. And also did the 8 a.m. class, which was really fun. I told you about it the other day. It was 5 rounds for time, 2 rope climbs, 20 burpees, 40 air squats. And it was all the best parts of Saturday Chaos classes. I did it with the whole class, but mainly my buddy Lachlan. He wanted to wear a 20-pound vest for this, which was a real treat. Actually went faster than I thought it would. I didn't beat him, so I'm 1-7 now. Got knocked down. And what I thought was interesting is he's a monster at burpees and rope climbs. I was catching him and passing him on the squats, but I remember the moment that I lost the workout, which is made me think about, like, I don't know, throughout your day, or when you're doing a task or something, like those moments where you choose to lose, or choose to miss out on something. It's not always like a hesitation thing, but I do feel like in some cases, like, hey, if I don't do this one thing right now, things are probably going to go awry. But it was round 3, and because of the way the class was set up and the amount of ropes we have at Mafia, we did some stagger start stuff. So Lachlan and I started on the squats. So we started 40 air squats, finished the squats, go to the rope climb, and then our round basically finished on the 20 burpees. So I think it was the end of either the end of round 3 or middle of round 3. I finished the squats faster than him, and I saw I was like, a handful of reps ahead of him, and he had like taken an extra rest the previous round, might have been round 4, but to chalk his hands, and I was like, oh, I have this time right now, and I was like, I thought to myself, I was standing at my last squat, I was like, I should just go jump on the rope ASAP. And I think it would have been hard, but I think I could have locked it up there, because I think I finished about 21 seconds behind him in the workout. And I stood there for a second, and I went to the chalk bucket, and I chose to lose, which was devastating. But it's also fun to look back on that and know that, like, that for me was the moment, because after that, he got back ahead of me again, and I couldn't catch him. And it reminded me of some advice, and I know I've talked about it elsewhere, but I love it. It's good. And I think I originally heard it from Dan Bailey, buddy of mine. Known him through competing and just CrossFit for a lot of years. And I think this was advice that was told to him by either Katie or Bill Henniger, founders and owners of Rogue Fitness. And it was something to the extent of, like, every time you reach for chalk, you choose to lose. And I love it. That sat in my head for years every time I would think about going to get chalk. I'm a little softer now. And so sometimes the chalk is very welcome. But looking back on it, that's what happened. It just kind of made me think about other little moments throughout the day at work. Something comes in, email comes in, message comes in. just those moments where you hesitate or decide to do something differently, but you kind of deep down, you're like, oh, I could resolve this right now if I just do this one thing, and you choose not to, and it goes off the rails. That was actually, it reminds me of something else I want to talk about. Better to be happy or be right. That's a good one. Probably we'll circle back on that. But yeah, I lost the workout, and bummer. 1-7. We're gonna get back to it. One of the things I wanted to chat about that I thought was really cool, we all vent, right? Like just griping about things. Maybe you vent to your friends about stuff going on at home. Maybe you vent to your husband, wife, whatever about things going on at work. And I think to some extent, like venting is like really natural, and in a lot of cases probably pretty necessary. So not a big deal. There's definitely a too much, but you could say it about just about everything in life. And I was chatting with Cassandra a couple nights ago, and we were venting about work and maybe some of the similarities of work that was challenging us, some of the things that we were frustrated, maybe annoyed with, and maybe even specific people. And I stopped and I sat there for a second. I asked her a question. I said, what do you think the other people you work with go home and say to their significant others about you? And I thought this was a really good question to go through. And it's a little bit jarring at first because I think there's some layers to it. I think there's one, do you even matter enough, in your daily interactions with people you work with, or just, bump into, interact with? Do you even matter enough that you impact their life? Like maybe they go home and you're going home and you're talking all this shit, you're griping, you're frustrated, so-and-so this, so-and-so that, and maybe they go home and they don't even give you a second thought. My mom often tells me what does she say? She goes, it's not your business what other people think to you. I don't know, something like that. We'll get back to that. But also if you do impact somebody, how do you impact them? Are they going home and saying, oh, wow, James, great to work with, super supportive, collaborative, went out of his way to help me with X, Y, and Z, or, James is, smug asshole, doesn't take anything seriously. I just thought it was a really cool thought experiment. So next time you're sitting there talking shit or just griping or venting, especially if you're like really getting into it, pause for a second and ask yourself, hey, I wonder, are they going home and saying the same thing about me? There's something important there, I think, for sure. And yeah, are you even worth talking about? And how do you want to impact other people when you interact with them and work with them? I thought that was a cool thing. I liked it because it made me think about, I kind of was like, well, if others were talking about what I don't do well at work, what do I think they say? And it was a pretty, I don't want to say vulnerable moment. It was an eye-opening moment because it made me think about like what I nailed it down to was, hey, he probably doesn't take things that seriously. Maybe a little bit of an ego, probably, for sure. And I think that just hopefully gives you something to think about, and maybe you do or don't want to change it, need to change it going into the next day. But I really like that exercise. If you're griping about something or someone, what do you think they gripe about you about to their significant others or their close person that they talk to and talk about? I thought about it a lot since then. I've kind of shared that with a couple other people. And it's just been neat to see their reactions to it, because you never think about, it's really hard to put yourself in somebody else's perspective, somebody else's shoes, especially if you're like frustrated with them or kind of generally being negative about a situation, kind of flipping the script and putting yourself in the position of the thing you're being negative about. Kind of cool, maybe not cool, but also started thinking about other names for the podcast. But if anybody has any recommendations, would love to hear them. And we'll see how that goes. We're going to keep it what it is for now, which I think is podcast of the day. I don't remember. That's how great it is. I don't even remember the name of this thing. We'll see you tomorrow.